Okay folks, we got this gorgeous 1999 Kawasaki Vulcan 1500 Nomad in here, and the poor girl's just leaking fuel everywhere. Let me get my little light, you can see. We're just gonna do a quick carburetor repair. See the fuel there, and back in there you can see it's all wet. So yeah, we're going to yank this off here and try to solve the problem. It says it runs good, just needs the gaskets fixed on it. Somebody else, another shop had worked on it a while back and probably didn't do the best job they could have. So, all right, let's get to it. I got a stripper down here so we can get that carb off. So now we got the tank out of the way, we can better access the carburetor and the throttle cables and all the stuff that you got to unhook in order to get that baby out of there. So that's what I'm about to do. Stand by here a second. Okay, what needs to be done is I got to come back in here, and way down in there you can see that clamp in the center of the screen with the Phillips screw. I got to loosen that. I got to unhook that throttle position cable. I got that vacuum line right there, and then I have the fuel line running to the carb right here. I unhook all that, and then I can pull this carburetor out of there. So stand by while I do that. I also wanted to point out that I do have to, now you can't see it right here. Yep, there we go. Also have to pull off the choke cable. And on this model, they have a warmer. So we got a coolant line that actually attaches to this. Let me get that out of the way. Goes up in the bottom of the carb, and it actually warms the carb up for cold running, so you can basically start the bike and then take off, and it kind of warms it up quicker for you. It sounded good in theory back in the day. They did this on a lot of bikes, but it ended up being more trouble than what it was worth, so they abandoned it on a lot of stuff. But another trick is I can see here where the guy's cable's bent a little. You see that little kink in it? And I know what that's from. People try to unhook these out of here when all you got to do is pull the screw out, and this just pops right off, and you can get the cables out real easy. So I can tell when somebody doesn't know what they're doing, that's what happens right there. It won't affect it any, because when it's in there, it pulls nice and straight, it's not torn, but that's just a good indication that, and I know the guy that was working on it, good indication he didn't know what he was doing. But let me unhook these other couple things here real quick, and then I'll get this carburetor out of here. Stand by. I wish I had somebody filming today. Okay guys, don't mind the mess everywhere. Just want to show you what the customer said, that right here's where it was leaking. Whoop, hang on. Working one-handed. He said it was leaking right out of the accelerator pump right here. So I'm curious to see what we find. Either they forgot the little O-ring, or they never actually, when they rebuilt the carb or cleaned it or whatever, they never replaced this diaphragm. I got a kit here that comes with everything, more than what I need for this job. And it usually costs about the same as if you just get the gaskets separately. So mainly this is what I need, new bowl gasket, because when you take it apart and try to use the old gasket, which I think they also did, that looks like the old factory gasket. They get flat and they don't seal very well. I think he's got a combination of problems. But anyway, I'm going to bust in here. I'm going to take this apart. This is where your you'll see, accelerator pump diaphragm, I was trying to say. This right here. That's what's inside of there. And there's a little O-ring you also got to put in there. So we'll see. Stand by a second. Sorry about the terrible videoing. I'm in here on the weekend. I'm trying to get stuff done for people. You know, I'm kind of choppy because I'm always 3 steps ahead of myself here. So stand by. Let's see what we find out. Okay, so just as expected, this has never been out. This is the original. And it does have the O-rings like I was telling you, but I think that they're probably original and worn out. So if he's getting fuel, here, let me move this. If he's getting fuel out of this rod right here, there's a rod underneath this boot. See right there? And that rod goes down and pushes on this plunger, And then what it does is it squirts fuel up through these holes into your carburetor to help with acceleration. Because the vacuum caused by the engine going across here sucks fuel up out of the bowl through that jet. But when you crack that throttle open, you instantly get air, but it takes a second for the vacuum to work to suck fuel up. So that's what the accelerator pump does. It pushes this little rod down here that's connected to this little rod over here, and then it does a little pumping thing. And you know what I also noticed? No, okay, never mind, it's there. Yeah, and so that pumps fuel through the little hole into your carburetor. So if he's getting fuel out of this rod, then that's got to mean that this diaphragm's got a hole in it, or it's bad or something. So let me get it out of here and we'll see what's going on. Once again, guys, I'm just trying to take you along with what I do. These aren't always instructional videos, and back in the day I was able to do that. I'm trying to get you a glimpse into what's going on and what's involved. A lot of times it's good for the owner to see what I actually go through in order to fix it. But just as my suspicions were correct here, or whatever, I'm not even saying that correct. Let me see if I can do this. There's a crack all the way around that. You see it? Right there. See, that's all cracked up. This is original. So they rebuilt the carburetor and they never, there you go. You can see it now, can't you? That's the old diaphragm in there. So there's the problem. That's why gas squirts out here, because every time you hit the throttle, like I said, this is full of fuel, and it pumps that fuel, and he's getting fuel coming out of here and dripping everywhere. And also what will happen is the tank is higher than this, so just the gravity, if there's a place for fuel to escape, it'll find it. At least path of resistance, right? So there you go, all cracked up diaphragm, just as I expected. It was something in here. And you can see they definitely didn't replace that. All right, guys. So I'm going to put a new one of them in there. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to check the float level. I'm going to make sure all this is correct. Jets are cleaned out and all that. Even though he said it runs right, that needs to be done before it's put back together. Trust me on that. Get this all back together right. We'll get it on the bike and we'll see what we got. Stay tuned. Sorry about my mess. I got a lot going on. Okay, guys. Let me get my pointer. All right, see this little brass nipple right here? That's where the fuel comes out when you pump the accelerator. And I'm going to pump it. Well, of course, it's going to try to focus. So I'm going to hit the throttle and watch the fuel squirt out of there. You see it? Terrible videoing, but you can see it. It's working pretty good. Most of it's running back here because it's tilted at an angle, but you see it. Kind of hard to do with one hand, and the light. Let's see, here we go again. There you go. It's funny because that light opens on the other end and it kind of distorts the picture, but if you look close you can see it. Anyway, that's how that works. Not a good shot of it. So once again, when you hit the throttle, your cables are hooked here in the holes, and you pull on the throttle and it lifts that up, and this little arm right here pumps that rod like I was showing you. Boom, boom, up and down. And that squirts that little extra fuel in there. It does that while the vacuum is catching up and bringing the fuel up. That squirts a little fuel you need in there because when you turn this, there's a butterfly. Sorry about the filming. See, there's a butterfly here that opens. So you get air immediately, but it takes a second for the vacuum to suck fuel all the way out of the bottom of this bowl. Don't mind my mess. It's got to suck fuel out all the way out of here, up into here, and then go into the engine. So that's what the accelerator pump's for. So there you have it. So I filled it full of fuel and I tested it, make sure there was no leaks, make sure the accelerator pump's working, everything's good. So let's get it back on the bike, shall we? Okay, folks, so all back together on the bike, and I'm going to leave the air cleaner and everything off here because we're going to check it out, make sure we don't have any leaks or anything, and I'll show you. I'll come around and get my light on it, but let me run on the other side and start it. There is some fuel in the bowl, so it should kick right off, but we'll see. I'll give it a couple pumps with the accelerator and choke it. This is a cold start because the bike's been sitting here for a couple days not running, and then we'll come around, check for leaks. Couple squirts there, pull the choke out. Okay, so I was trying to hold the camera, the light, and everything and rev it so we could see, you could watch and make sure it wasn't leaking when I pumped it. But what I'm doing is I'm focusing back there. You can see, hold on, let me get a pointer. For those who don't know, if you remember just a few minutes ago, now this is hard because it keeps shutting the camera off when I hold it too tight. This is when, ow, watch that exhaust pipe. Okay, so anyway, right here is what I'm trying to focus on. This little boot and that stem right here, that's where that rod was. That's where it was leaking. So we see no fuel there, no fuel leaking anywhere, just the old residue. So we're good to go, guys. I got to button this puppy up here. Here, let me zoom back out. Wow. Okay. I got to button this up because the customer is eager to get this beautiful ride and go have some fun. All right, you saw it here. Everything's good to go. Got his leak fixed. Sounds like it's running good. It'll run much better with the air cleaner on there. That's, if you notice when I gave it a little throttle, did you hear it kind of sputter a little? You wouldn't believe how much difference those air cleaner make because it gives a little bit of pressure on here. Right now, it's basically running leaner than it should. When you put the air cleaner on, you restrict it a little bit, which allows it to suck more fuel in, and then it runs better. So people sometimes take air cleaners off and think something's going to run better, but it actually runs worse. You got the deal, right? You heard it here from the Dragon. All right, guys, let me see. I guess I'll button it up and then I'll get another shot. Stand by. Okay, folks, there you have it. That's a wrap. 1999 Kawasaki. Let me zoom back out here. Hang on. There we go. All right, like I was saying, 1999 Kawasaki Vulcan 1500 Nomad. Job complete. All right, guys, thanks for watching once again. Like, share, subscribe, join our family, all the good stuff. Peace out.